All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to call our meeting to order. This is our regular monthly meeting for the month of September. If everyone would please now join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, please stand and say our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, we move down now to approving our agenda. We do have a few items to add tonight. Everyone's got these additions for your packet. All right, and I'll make a motion at this time to amend the agenda by adding item E, and this is to consider components of Senate Bill 1. A motion and a second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of adding item E to our agenda, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And second item we need to add is to consider part-time guidance counselor ARC chairperson position. And I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda by adding item F.
Second.
I have a second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of adding agenda item F to the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. And we move down now to amending the agenda to the consent agenda to add item H. And this is to approve the contract between the Muhlenberg County Board of Education and Studer Education for Strategic Plan Development.
Motion.
Second by Mr. Johar.
Second.
All in favor of approving the item H under the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. We have another. And this is to approve shortened school day for student number 1 for the 21-22 school year. This is with the item I under the consent agenda. I need a motion.
I make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Wells. Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of amending the consent agenda to add item I, say aye.
Aye.
That was confusing. All right. All opposed? I hear none. So we've got some items we've added. We move down now to approve the amended agenda.
I make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I have a motion by Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of approving the amended agenda items, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. All right. I'll get this all messed up in just a minute, probably. All right. Good deal. So we'll move down now to recognitions with Ms. Embry.
Okay, good evening. Hi. Sorry, let me share my screen. All right, we'll see that.
Yes.
All right. Well, on behalf of the Board of Education, I want to recognize a few students who, after several months of preparation, they competed at the Kentucky State Fair recently, and they placed. Now, did you know, I'm going to give you just a little history on the country ham. It has been a food tradition in Kentucky and throughout the Southeast for hundreds of years. The Kentucky 4-H Country Ham Project continues the tradition of the country ham. The project began in the late 1990s with less than 40 4-H'ers to currently over 775 4-H'ers from over 65 Kentucky counties. The project begins in January and ends in August at the Kentucky State Fair, where the hams are judged by members of the Kentucky country ham producers. And the students, they have to present a 3 to 5 minute speech about their project. Throughout the project, the 4-Hers learn about food production and how the country ham fits into Kentucky's food heritage. 650 youth competed in the 2021 Kentucky State 4-H Ham Contest at the fair. There were 11 youth from Muhlenberg County who participated, and 5 brought home titles. The Country Ham Project is rewarding for our 4-Hers as they learn the time-honored curing tradition from now Charlie Gatton. Years ago it was Scott Hams, and now Charlie Gatton at Father's Country Hams in Bremen allows these students to come and learn and work on these projects. So we thank him for his time. I'm going to begin with two graduates, and I just wanted to go ahead and mention them because they're our kids. Lexi Miller, in her age category, she placed second in speech and second place overall. She is the daughter of Alan and Stacy Miller of Bremen, and she is currently at Murray. And then we have graduate last year, Callista Lear. She placed third in speech. Callista is currently a freshman at the Madisonville Community College. Now, I just love these pictures, so I hope you enjoy these pictures. Mr. Trace Harper, he's a 7th grader at Muhlenberg South Middle. He placed second in speech and third overall. He also, in the 13-year-old category, he also, check this out, placed a champion in woodworking. His mom sent me this picture of this chair that took him several months to put together, but that big grin makes you see how proud he is of his work. Trace is the son of Crystal and Travis Harper of Belton. And then in the 12-year-old category, Caleb Duff, he's a 7th grader at Muhlenberg North Middle. He placed second in speech, and he is the son of Morgan Duff of Bremen. His mom sent me that picture on the left that, of course, have the tractors in the back. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Jude Gardner. He's a 6th grader at Muhlenberg North Middle. He placed first in speech, third in ham, and second overall. Jude is the son of Emily and Brad Gardner of Central City. I just want to say congratulations to these special students on their accomplishments and their dedication over all this time on the project. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations, all of our students.
Yes.
I like the pictures. Thank you, Carla. All right, we will move down to our treasurer's report. Mr. Blitzinger.
Hey there, I'm gonna try to get this shared here. All right, can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Rager, board members. Tonight I bring you the financials as of August 31st. Revenues, the beginning balance at 27.7, which is up about 2.3 million. Total monthly receipts at 2.9 million, and that's down just a touch from last month, for total securities of 30.6 million. Expenditures, our accounts payable was 2.23 million. That's up about $1 million from the last month, but most of that's in the fund expense and the debt service, you can see. Then the payroll is at 2.978 million, and that's up about 745,000 from the same period last year, for total expense of 5.2. That also included the bonus, so that's a significant portion of the increased cost right now. Accounts payable breakdown: fixed mixed expenses are about 1.6 million, utilities about 91,000. Variable expenses are about 577,000. The breakdown of the accounts payable: 2.2. General fund is 1.1. Fund 2 and school activity fund is about 356,000. Debt service again was 735,000. Food service and daycare was 17,000. and trust and agency, which is scholarships, is 1,000. So the ledger balance at the end of the month was 25.4 million, with a bank balance of 18.5. Outstanding checks are about $1 million still, and cash closed at about 17.4 million. Further breakdown of that, the general fund is about almost 19 million. Special revenue is about 3.8. It's negative 3.8 million. However, this month's federal cash request that I submitted today was around that amount, so it should true up in the next month here. That was mainly salaries from ESSER funds. Debt service, down 734,000. Food service about 1.8 million. Daycare at 241,000. Trust and agency at 40,000, and district activity is at 18.4, and almost 8 million in investments. Extended financial picture through January of 2022, we expect to have about 23.3 million in the bank.
Thank you. Any questions regarding our treasurer's report? If not, I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report. I have a motion by Mr. Gilmore.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. We'll go down now to payment of bills and salaries.
Thank you again. Thank you again, Chairman Rager. This in September, I bring to you $1,074,030.18 in Ford bills. The utilities expense about 100,000. Fixed and mix expenses are 847,000, and that's of that 840,000. The vast majority of that is the Bluegrass International trucks, like for buses of 767,000, and variable expense of 126,000.
Any questions? I make a motion to approve payment of bills and salaries.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of payment of bills and salaries, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Move down now to public participation.
Larissa.
Larissa, thank you. Move on down now to the superintendent report with Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Chairman Rager, board members. A lot to cover tonight, a lot from the legislation. And Susan, I will tell you, to honor Brent, I looked for my loudest jacket, and I'm pretty drab. This is it, but I did have that in mind. I said, Gretch, what can you find me? And this is all she could come up with. So it's nowhere near Brent Yount's level, but this is the best I can do.
You did well.
18 straight days. That's where I want to start this. There's a lot of things to cover, a lot of controversial things, and all that. I get that. 18 straight days with kids in the school for the first time in a year and a half. So I am thrilled with that, and I'm going to tell you, all you guys often hear is the negative, and yes, people are getting sick, people are dying. We get that. I mean, there is no, I don't want to downplay that at all. But when I get into schools and I hear kids laughing, and I can hear them coming, and I actually say, hey kids, quieten down a little bit. That's awesome. That's old school. So I get to see that every day as I get in schools. I wish you could. Principals, we're going to bring them in, let them do their principals reports, even though it's going to take a little longer, because you guys need to hear some of what we see, and the public does too. So I just want to start with that. Thanks to our staff and our parents who've been supportive in the community, because we're trying to bring in 4,000 kids and 800 staff members with all this going on and work through the quarantines. And it's not easy, but we've had a lot of folks be encouraging, be supportive, be patient, even if they don't agree with us. I think they know, hopefully, our hearts are in the right place. So we are thrilled with that. And tomorrow, almost certainly going to be 19. There's no clouds on the horizon that I see. So that's good. Attendance numbers, I'm going to give you the basics. You have some papers there in front of you. We have 4,256 kids this year. We're down about 100 from last year. We've been losing 100 a year for a good while now. Now, this is tricky, getting these numbers, because we have some kids who are in a virtual program. We have a few in there, about 100. We have some kids who are quarantined. Right now, we have about 280 kids quarantined. So as long as we're getting word to them, they're still obviously enrolled, but they're also considered present if we can do that. And then, quite honestly, we have some who are no-shows. At each school, we have some we're trying to still track down. Maybe I talked to, I think, one of the principals today said we have 5, we just haven't been able to reach.
Don't show up like each day since we opened.
Haven't started with us.
So if they haven't started, they don't count.
If they haven't started, they're not absent, yet, because we don't know if they went to another district, whatever, but nevertheless, we're worried about it. So we're working on that. So we're whittling it down. But we still do have no-shows, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. As of now, as of today, we have 51 kids who are positive, 284 who are quarantined. Those numbers are quite a bit better than they were 3 weeks ago, but a little higher than they were 2 days ago. So we're keeping an eye on that. We have staff members. We have 3 staff members out of 800 who are positive and 12 who are quarantined. That's 0 is best. I get it. Those are phenomenal numbers compared to some other districts who are don't have bus drivers, don't have. And guys, again, I'll get into the NTI days and all that later. That's what's going to get us. When those numbers get to a point, I don't have bus drivers, I can't get the kids to school. So those are the things we watch both, but that's what will shut us down when the time comes. That's what shut down some neighboring districts. It's been staffing. Right now, we're very fortunate. Good news is I see it. The state rate, although still very high, was 14.5 positivity rate, I think, about a week ago. It's dropped. I'm watching that each day. It's down to 13.00. Still a lot higher than we'd like, but at least it's plateaued, and maybe we have hope that it's going down. I am going to jump right in now and let the principals do their part. And then I'm going to bring Scott Newell in about 6 o'clock to talk about the cafeteria at the high school and where we are with that. So I want to jump in. Hopefully the technology works for us. Let's go to Mr. Sharp at Bremen.
Good morning, Mr. Davis, or good afternoon, Mr. Davis and board member. Can you see me?
You look like home improvement neighbor.
Wilson.
Mr. Wilson, that's right.
Yeah, go ahead.
We are excited to have our students back in person this year. In fact, right now, we've got students outside. We're having a literacy lawn party. We have basically some games that are socially distanced and all outside for kids and their parents to learn about. So we're excited about that. Our theme this year is Disney, and our teachers and staff did an excellent job decorating their rooms and pods, and they really got into it this year. I just want to give a big shout out to our teachers and staff. They are doing an excellent job each day, and I'm asking them to do more and more each day. We're having days where, we don't have a lot of subs, and they're having to do more, and they're doing the best they can, and they're glad to see our students too. Special shout out to Ann Shelton, our sub caller. She works so hard to get as many people in, as many subs as we can. So a big shout out to her. We got the book fair going on right now, and that's the first time in a year and a half that we've had the book fair, and the kids really love the book fair. They just love going in there and spending some money at the book fair. We have a 5th grade student. He's probably one of my favorites. I probably shouldn't have favorites, but he just is. And he helped me lower the flag to half staff for 9/11. And as we were walking back in, he said, "Mr. Sharp, I love being here." And I said, "Buddy, I love having you here at school too." And the kids just love to be in school. They love their routines. They love the people here, and so we're just blessed to have these kids back in school. We lost a fixture at Freeman Elementary. Mr. David Smith is our head custodian for 28 years at Freeman Elementary. He was always there to do what was needed. He was a little bit ornery. He would wait around the corner and scare you. The kids are doing the best they can. He was a big figure in their life, and we are thankful for all the schools and all the people who've sent cards and prayers and thoughts, because we've needed it. He's been a tough loss for us. We Every year we have a derby where we have we have teachers who ride on stick horses, and he came out one year on a mop, and the place went bananas for that. So we are going to have another derby this year in May. I don't know what it'll look like, but we are going to rename that to the David Smith Derby. And we're going to give out a monthly award. I've been reading this book called Grit, and it's all about people who have perseverance. And I didn't know anybody who had more grit than David Smith. We're going to give one student per homeroom each month the Mr. David Grit Award. And we're just we miss Mr. David, but we're doing the best we can. And thank you guys for all what you do too. So that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp, and I'll second everything you said about Mr. David. I was there with him for a long time.
I'm sorry.
A heck of a man. Let's move on to Mr. Blake from Central City.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Good evening, board members. Well said, Grant. I appreciate that as a Bremen parent. I appreciate what you said about Mr. David. But my takeaway about what you said was that you have a fifth grade student who's one of your favorites, and I'm a father of a fifth grade student. So for Central City Elementary, I just want to touch on a few things. We had 10 families who participated in the launch program through Second Baptist Church at Central City. So we're really excited to have those families be a part of it. As a part of that, they received a tank full of gas. They received, I want to say it was $175 in school clothes from Walmart. They received a basket of cleaning supplies. So we're really grateful for that opportunity for those families. At the end of the year last year, we had a hygiene drive. And as a part of that hygiene drive, we decided that what we want to do was create a hygiene kit for all of our fifth grade students. That was our goal. And so once we started receiving all of our items, it turned out that we had enough to give every third, fourth, and fifth grade student a hygiene kit as a welcome back to school. So that was something that we're really thankful for. But in our surplus of all those items, we were also able to give every kindergartner through second grader a toothbrush and toothpaste. And then our family resource coordinator, Miss Vicki Taylor, created a little flyer on how to properly brush your teeth. So we're really grateful for her for doing that. It was a really good thing to get our community involved in our school. And then the last thing I want to touch on, coming up in October, we have a scarecrow drive-through event. You know, we're trying to be as cautious as we can in light of all the COVID cases. So we're going to make a drive-through scarecrow event where they're going to be able to drive through. Each scarecrow is going to have a little story attached to it. There's going to be clues in it, and the students are going to be able to fill out a little puzzle, and then every child that participates is going to get a prize. So we're just now in the initial planning stages of that, but that's something that we're looking forward to. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. I was at Central City today, and a young man, I don't know where he came up with this, but we asked who would win in a race between Mr. Blake and me and the custodian, Richard Lark, and he pointed to Richard Lark quickly and said that he would be the winner. So I don't know. It was a good day, Central City today. Miss Jones from Greenville.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. All right. Trying to find my mute button. I know my husband wishes I had one of those probably permanently. So we've had a very busy start to the year as everybody else has. I echo with some of the things that Mr. Sharp was saying, especially with Miss Ann Shelton. Of course, there's not many times I don't talk to her, about probably 3 to 5 times a day. So I appreciate everything that she's doing for us. Are getting the year off to a start. Of course, we've been working really hard on emergency drills, and those have looked a lot different, of course, in the midst of, keeping our social distancing down. I want to give a shout out to, I know all the other principals will echo this, our SROs. Mr. Tommy Nance is doing a wonderful job. I don't think there has been a day that I have not seen him in my building, so I know he's really working hard to get to every elementary school each day, and really appreciate that he's visible in our building and all the things that our SROs do for us. We have some new faces at Greenville Elementary. We do have a new family resource coordinator, Miss Tanya Stovall. a new school counselor, Miss Whitney P. So looking forward to some fun events for our kids this year, some ideas coming down, and a new art teacher, Miss Melissa Shanks, actually has transferred to our art position, and we have just a neat art exhibit going down the Yellow Hall with our student projects that they've already done this school year. So that has been exciting to see. We are looking forward to our first family outdoor event coming up on October 22nd. And I will be giving some more details about that later, specific, because we're in the middle of working with Greenville Tourism on that. So that's going to be held up at the plaza between the courthouse and the Judicial Center on October 22nd. We're looking forward to that. And I've just got to share a funny today. I hope, I know Miss Browning will get a kick out of this, and I hope Mr. Browning's listening. We do enjoy every morning that Mr. Browning is able to share a joke with the school. And sometimes the kids give him a hard time about his material, about his jokes. And this morning it was a busy day. It was picture day at Greenville Elementary. So the kindergarten student, though, at lunch said, Mr. Browning, you told the best joke today. And the problem was he didn't have time to tell the joke this morning. So the joke was kind of on this afternoon. So I had to share that. And that was a kindergarten student. So we've got a lot of humor and having a lot of fun in the building. And it was just nice to have that laugh with everybody. So I want to share that.
Thank you, Stacey. Let's go to Hayes Browning, the longest.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. Good evening, board members. A lot of the same stuff that the other guys have already mentioned. Just want to thank my staff and students and parents for a great start to the school year. It's just been amazing. We've hit the ground running. We're in a routine here that seems like when the teachers are able to shut that door and get the kids in the classroom, even though we're masked and we're trying to do our best with social distancing, COVID really isn't involved in the instructional process. So a lot of that COVID stuff happens in the office, phone calls and contact tracing and different things. The office might be crazy, but the kids and the teachers are reunited in the classroom, and that has been awesome to see. I've been in and out of all the classrooms a bunch, and the kids are just excited to be here. It's just been great to see. I want to give a big shout out to Miss Shane Gadsden for running the front office by herself the first 2 weeks of school. She answered the phone, she put in attendance, she changed absences to quarantines, she took notes. It was impressive, very impressive what she did. So very, very proud of her. And that's the epitome of what I found as a team here at Longest. Just unbelievable faculty and staff, blessed to have them. Quarantines for us have gone way down. I think we got 30 kids back in the last 5 days. So for us, that was really good. Morning meeting is one of the things I want to hit on just to talk about how excited the kids are. I host morning meeting through a Google link every morning. Sometimes I host it in my office. Sometimes we have a guest class host the morning meeting, and I go to that room and we host, but we do the pledge and announcements. We have a new Spartan chant that we're doing every morning, fun fact of the day, joke of the day, character word of the week, and we sing happy birthday as a whole school to the birthdays throughout our Google Meet. So we're uniting the whole school every morning, which I think is really good. But what I like to see is kids are getting off the bus, kids are getting out of the car line and requesting to host and volunteer and be involved in the morning meeting, whether that is doing the pledge or doing our chant or reading the joke of the day. We're getting a lot of kid participation. So that tells me that they're enjoying being at school. Like Grant, we have our book fair going on this week, limited it to the library with a few kids going at a time during their specials periods. But we also are having our family reading night combined with grandparent night out back in our school. And I didn't know what to expect because this is my first one, but I came out back at 5 o'clock and we had so many kids, parents and grandparents out back that are participating in that. They're making a craft with their grandparents. They're spread out reading on the lawn. They're buying books. It's just been a really good night. We couldn't have asked for better weather, so we got lucky on that. So that's all I've got. I appreciate you guys, and thank you.
Thank you, Hayes. We're going to jump now. Scott Noel is actually on vacation, so we're going to let him jump in since he just got on and kind of update us on the cafeteria at the high school. We get a lot of questions about that, still not seeing anything. And Scott's going to kind of explain where we are and kind of the timeline. So Scott, are you with us?
Yes, can you all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. And thank you all for sticking me up close to the front of the agenda. But yes, I've checked again. I've been communicating a little bit with Mr. Davis and Eric about where we are. The plans have all been submitted. We've paid the permit fees. The housing building construction that's reviewing the plans for the construction permits. They've actually already, they have at least assigned a case number. And so it is in review right now. They are terribly overwhelmed up there in Frankfurt right now with reviewing plans, but they are in review, and we really hope when we spoke with the plan reviewer today that we would have something from them in writing so that we could proceed with advertising for bids within a week and a half. So we're going to keep we're going to keep calling them on a regular basis just to make sure that we kind of keep pushing them through to help us get there. So,
Thank you.
Scott, what's our best hope with maybe getting some groundbreaking, actually seeing some work being done?
Oh, actually, what we were hoping for was if we can get a go-ahead to advertise here before the end of the month, we can open bids around the third week of October. And if we can get the contracts together and signed, it's quite possible we can be digging footings in November. And because that would be the key, because there, unfortunately, there is a process to all of it. We do have to have, there's a couple of different things. Once we get the approval for the construction permits, and then we advertise for bids, then the Department of Education will need to, they'll need to review the contract for the contractors, and those will all need board approval. So timing really is the availability to possibly have special call board meeting to help move it along. What would really help us jumpstart this is as long as we get the approvals and we can open bids in October, it is quite possible we could be digging footings in November and get those in the ground before winter, and that will help the process so much. So that's kind of where we're at. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of state and federal money pumped into infrastructure, and every construction project that happens, it has to go through housing, building, construction. So that's why they're really overwhelmed right now. So.
Questions?
Last time we talked about putting some kind of a poster or what it's going to look like.
Yeah. Scott, could we? Yeah, Scott, could we get some kind of mock-up or some kind of something that we could put up so our kids know what's coming, and and maybe where parents can too, but certainly our kids can see what the finished product's going to look like. Could we talk about that soon and maybe get something we can in the cafeteria now?
Oh, absolutely. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and polish up, because I know we have shown you all the renderings before at the design development phase. We'll go ahead and really get some that are printed on some really nice boards, and that way you all can post them up, and then we can also give you the digital images if you want to flash them through on the screens and stuff in the cafeteria, but at least to let them know what's coming, and we'll get some dates and stuff on those images to help them realize that what they're what they're doing right now is temporary, and that something much better is on its way. So.
Okay, let's talk more about that tomorrow, or as soon as you get back from vacation, Scott, give me a call and
Okay.
And take the kids. That'd be great for them to have something to look forward to.
Yeah,
Right.
and that would be ideal. And if you need us, I don't mind a bit to come down. If you have your student council that you want to be in, like on a meeting, and we can have a sit down with them and explain what's happening, because then that way they could go out and spread the message throughout the rest of the student body. I'd be more than happy to do that as well.
All right, thank you, Scott.
All right, thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's jump back to our principals, Mr. Wells.
Good evening. Hope everyone's having a good, it's a beautiful, refreshing fall-like day. So it's been a great start to our school year at South Elementary. I can't, it's already been echoed. I'll just echo what the other principals are saying. It has its challenges for the staff, for sure, but there's a positive energy in the building with the kids there. Every day you see kids, they're just excited to be there, and that brings energy to everyone. But so it's just been a great start. We're excited about all the things that are going on. We've got fundraisers, book fair, going to celebrate the summer express. We send workbooks home over the summer. We've had several students return those finished. We're going to celebrate their accomplishments with the pizza party and ice cream soon. So just a lot of fun activities going on right now, and looking forward to the rest of the school year.
Thank you, Grayson.
Thank you.
Alex from Renaissance.
Good afternoon, Mr. Davis and board members. To begin, it's been great having our students back in the building 5 days a week. To be honest, over the last year and a half or so, it was tough keeping in contact with several of our kids and their families. So it's been great to reconnect and be able to reestablish those relationships with the students and their families. Want to give a couple shout outs. First, our custodian, Gary Williams. Gary did a great job throughout the summer and in August preparing our building for the students and the staff to return. Also, a shout out to our staff. Since we began in August, they've shown a great willingness and flexibility to help keep our kids safe while in school, but also getting them back in the routine of coming to school, which, I mentioned earlier, isn't always easy for our students, but it has gotten better each day. Kids are really working hard, and some of them have even admitted, hey, I'm glad to be back, but it's not easy. So we're glad the kids are coming. We're glad to see them back, and definitely appreciate Gary and the staff. And we're looking forward to the rest of the school year. I know I like to give an update on the MOVE program. It is a little bit different this year because we kind of are at mid-year form as far as how many students we have. It was our virtual option for the high school. Right now we have 52 students enrolled. That's grades 9 through 12. 12 and a half credits have already been recovered. We have 2 fifth-year seniors who are very close to completing and graduating in the spring. And according to Miss Beth Ellis, most of the kids are working hard. Also, for the first time this year, and Mr. Davis may mention this later, we have an elementary and middle school MOVE program. And Miss Kelly Melton, who's one of our teachers, is the coordinator of that program, and she shared with me today there are 23 elementary and 26 middle school MOVE students. Much like the high school students, these students are using the Play-Doh program. And again, according to Miss Melton, everything is going very nicely with those students. And that is all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Before I go to Donna, I want to give a shout out to the guidance counselors at the high school. Donna invited me over, and I was able to sit in with the guidance counselors going through a group of teachers. She went through all the groups during their planning period, and they were working on how better to communicate with their kids on where exactly they are with their classes, how many they have, how many towards graduation. They had the forms laid out and all. It was really impressive. And just trying to firm it up a little better, get where kids own it and they know where they're at. And if they only have 10 credits and they think they should be a junior, well, there's no surprise there. You know, they know the whole time. So I applaud that. I was glad she invited me over and I got to watch that. So we'll turn it over to you, Ms. Bunks.
Thank you, Mr. Davis, and thank you, board members, for another night. As everyone has said, I echo the same. It's been great to have the students in the building for 5 days. There's a vicious little rumor going around with the kids, and I actually had a teacher to call me and put me on the speakerphone. The students keep asking, why are you all keep telling us good morning every day? And you're act so happy. Are you guys getting paid extra? And so they really thought that we were getting paid extra to tell them good morning, and not just me, but a lot of the teachers in the hallway. So I think I finally got them believing that we're just happy they're here in the building for 5 days a week. So it's been great to see them for that. I want to say shout outs definitely to my staff, as someone already mentioned about Ann Shelton. Don't envy her job at all. But even on our days that we've been short on subs for various reasons and so forth, everyone has pitched in to help out. Our custodians continue to do things. We are like some table wiping machines. And thanks to Mr. Davis and others from the board who have come over and helped us out at the various lunches and getting everything wiped down in between times. It's been really a team effort and everyone coming together and taking care of that. I want to say thanks to our parents and community members for their patience, and for our local law enforcement, including all the SROs, and helping us come together and develop finally a great plan of getting our pickups and drop-offs taken care of. For it, knock on wood, or as I do on my own head, those seem to be working out really well, and we finally got a great system working down. Continue to do a shout out to Kim Dukes and the transportation department. Drivers have been great in helping us when it comes to any contact tracing at all, and getting us that information when we need as well. And thanks to Mr. Lyle and his staff, they continue to host us in our volleyball games. We have senior night going on tonight. You'll find Mr. Hardison there, as he has a senior on the volleyball team, and getting that underway. And the good news is we are getting a little bit closer of getting our gym floor together and getting it out, and excited about trying to get a little bit of a better design there. So our fall sports are going really well. Appreciate everything that our coaches are doing in keeping our students safe. And our band, it was great to have our marching band competing the first time in a long time. Their new uniforms, and what did they do? They started out their season with as a grand champion in Class 3A. So there's lots of other things going on at the high school, but I would like to finish up by saying yesterday, as a little reward for our staff, as Mr. Davis said, 18 days. Our staff have been coming in every day, showing up for the students and for their colleagues, and doing what's needed to be done for everyone. And I'm hoping that I can just, if you will, bear with me here, share my screen here, if everything will work right. Yesterday was Workout Wednesday, and I encouraged the staff to come in dressed in their favorite ball shorts, their favorite t-shirt, tennis shoes, whatever. And just because they had worked that hard, they had been sweating hard, and it's not going to work well. So I'll just have to send it to Mr. Davis and send it to you all. But Miss Natalie Drury took it to the next level, and she had on the sweat, like the plastic suit, as I call it, to where you could sweat the pounds off. So the staff was excited about yesterday. It was great to see as many of them who did participate in Workout Wednesday. And we'll have some more Workout Wednesdays, and maybe to the various decades in the months to come. So that's kind of our treat. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Donna. She mentioned something I want to mention too, not just 18 days in school, many sporting events, band shows, or other organizations in the organization meeting. And the way I look at it, every single one was a blessing, because we didn't have all this so much forever. We did have some sports on and off. We have had to cancel some things, but by and large, it's gone pretty well. And I just know how big a deal it is to those kids that get to do what they love. Even if it's
excited, I'll tell you that.
well, all right, thank you, Donna. Let's move on to Mr. Lau, and then we'll finish up with Mr. Rager.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Just like others have said, our new school year is off to a great start in our new building. I'd like to give a shout out to our staff pitching in, helping out wherever needed, whether that be covering classes, making phone calls, just whatever it is. Everyone's been stepping up. Also would like to give a shout out to all of our fellow principals, whether it be just a phone call, asking what are you doing with this or that, or even just that opportunity to call someone up and just somebody to have a listening ear. That's always great. And so greatly respect and appreciate all of our fellow principals. Only other thing I have is our truth stairs. I don't know if you've seen that on social media, some of those items. But if you haven't seen our truth stairs, it's our main stairwell where we have several lies on our bottom steps. And those lies say things like, everyone's life is perfect except yours. You're not enough. No one cares about you. You're not special. But then it says, don't believe the lies. Rise above them. Choose to move forward. And our big doors say, let the truth be told. And then as you turn and you go up the steps, it says, you are special. You are worthy. You are amazing. And, you know, we live in a time now that kids, and not just kids, but adults too, need to hear that. So that's been big for us. We've had a lot of compliments on those. And I did hear just yesterday that a radio station in Canada actually ran the story of our stairs. So pretty neat, pretty excited about that. And that concludes my good news.
Thank you, Mr. Lau. And I do want to add to that just a little bit. One thing we're trying to talk with our kids about, and we're trying to model, is you can disagree. You can disagree with what somebody else says or how somebody else feels. It's how you go about doing that. And hopefully our staff is doing a good job of modeling that, even though, you know, it's easy to get caught up. But I do believe it's our job. If our kids are watching us right now, watching me, am I setting the example I need to set? And so that's something we talk about. That's something we're asking our teachers to talk about with kids. And by and large, I think you're not going to see a lot of stuff on Facebook or whatever from our group getting caught up in it. And I don't have Facebook, so maybe you missed a little. But I am proud of our group for that. And, you know, we take it seriously. It's not just trying to teach them math. We're trying to give them the skills to handle life. And I hope our folks are doing as well as I think they are. All right, Mr. Rager, take it home.
All right. We have several new faces in the building, like Miss Jones, have new guidance counselor, Miss Morgan, Miss Tiffany Morgan. You would not know that she is actually in her first year because she's doing such a great job. We have Mr. Logan Davenport, Veronica McVeigh, and Madison Mercer in the 8th grade, Natalie Smith, Hunter Ray, and Haley Burden, a new instructional monitor. I open car doors every morning, and students are getting out with smiles on their faces. They're happy to be there. The parents are happy for them to be at school as well. Teachers are doing their best to incorporate outside activities because everybody feels safer outside. We've created an outdoor classroom area with convertible benches, as well as picnic tables with umbrellas where students can eat lunch or they can also have class there. Each grade level has about probably 30 folding camping chairs that they can take outside and students can sit and read. I asked a student last week how things were going, and they immediately commented, I'm glad to be back to school to see my friends, and I like all my teachers. So they're just glad to be here. Had Tommy Nance stop by today, the elementary SRO, and he commented, you can tell by watching the students interact with one another that they're glad to be back in school in person. So that was just somebody that just came in and was just an outside observer, could see that they were just so glad to be back. Most parents that I've encountered and the teachers have encountered have been positive and supportive since school has started, whether it be open house or a quarantine phone call. They've even been very positive and supportive and understanding. We've had a very good start to the school year, considering we've put on an added workload on all staff. I can't say enough about how my staff has went above and beyond to do what's best for our kids. We've been as short as many as 5 subs, Ann Shelton's done her best to try to get us some subs, but we fell short numerous days, but everyone's always stepped up to fill in, and we always seem to get it done. So just so proud of our staff, and not only our school staff, but the district staff, from the cafeteria to Joe Cooper to Kim at the bus garage. And we've been having some problems with the HVAC system, and Jimmy and them always managed to get in and get it fixed. So we are off to a great year.
I like your music in the morning.
Yeah, he carries it out there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
We it's kind of where the cool kids hang out up front. Mr. Devine's in the back, so but yeah, we're breaking out in some YMCA up front, and the kids are kind of dancing. No, Mr. Davis, I'm not dancing. We want the kids to come to school, not leave. So I don't dance.
Well, folks,
He's not dancing. Good night.
and I've kind of cut that part out because it takes a minute, but I just felt like we needed to hear that this time, what's going on, because it's better than you think, is what I'm afraid of. So I appreciate our folks, and I'm going to tell you, I am so proud of all our staff. No one is just doing the job that they were doing a year and a half ago. But I will say this, I can't imagine their jobs. The principal's job, trying to maintain in the quarantines and deal with all that, but we're getting better all the time. And I just appreciate the attitude, not just the effort, but the attitude about it. I want to get into some Senate Bill 1 stuff later. It's an agenda item, so I'm going to skip that for now. Our test scores from last year, they're released publicly September 29th. I'll be honest with you, I'm not too stressed about it one way or the other. Last year was a crazy year. Many kids didn't even take the test. They didn't come in. I don't know how you're going to compare them to anything. We tried. We did the best we could, but I don't think whatever they say, they're going to matter a whole lot, just to be honest with you, one way or the other. Donna mentioned the gym floor. Just a few hours ago, got an email from Jimmy Fleming that said they found out, because we've been waiting on hardwood. It's another COVID thing, and it's going to be there Monday. And Tommy Middleton's going to be there Monday to start putting it down. I think he has something else he has to do over fall break, a commitment, but then he's going to jump right back into it. Bottom line is, we're finally going to see progress there. There's other stuff. There's plywood there now. They've done all they could. We need the hardwood now. So hopefully that's a positive movement. A couple of things, not SB1, but political stuff. And a lot of this came down last Friday. President Biden came out and said anybody with 100 or more employees, all their employees will have to be vaccinated or tested twice a week. We're not 100% sure what that's going to mean. If that is going to be us, it appears that it will be. There could be challenged. There could be some litigation. Just got an email on that about 2 hours ago. Don't know a lot more. If we do the test to stay, they'll probably have a hand in this too. But honestly, I'm not getting too torn up about anything just yet, because let's just see where that goes. But I am throwing it out there. KDE came out and said any employee in the state that is vaccinated, they're going to give $100 to, and they invited districts to match that. I don't think we have to talk about the match part tonight or not. I don't know much about that. I think we may have to be out the money first and then get reimbursed. I'll have to talk with Eric on that, but that's going to happen at some level, but there's a lot of details that we simply haven't heard anything about. I get a lot of questions on when will 5 to 12-year-olds, when will they get a chance to be vaccinated if parents choose to? And I talked to Dr. Billy Gallion today and Dr. Bandy, both, and neither, they're like, we heard some end of October stuff. Maybe that's the case. They just don't know. So that is something, again, a lot of parents do ask me that, and a lot of parents, they probably wouldn't take advantage of that. That's fine. But I just don't know yet. I will tell you, we have 31% of our 12 to 17-year-olds who are vaccinated. And I sent you guys that link. It's a pretty cool site, and you can see what other districts are doing too. And I think we're around 80% on our staff with vaccinations. We can't know for sure, because some may have gotten vaccinated during the summer, and we just don't know that yet. But we're running about 80%. And again, we're not telling folks what they have to do. What I do like about the more who are vaccinated, I do know the less who are going to get quarantined. So it's just the rules that we're going by, and that helps us. So that number is probably one of the reasons our staff numbers, being out are so low. And finally, lastly, the superintendent report, it's part of the consent agenda, but we will be hopefully approving a strategic plan, going with a group that's going to help us develop that. Pretty excited about this. I should have done it about 2 to 3 years ago. But this group will help bring in community members, community leaders, parents, I want to make sure we have our parents maybe in poverty that don't get a voice, figure out a way they get a voice. I want to see how we're serving them. But this group will help us come up with a lot of things, but one thing is just, let's just get together and talk, and where would they like to see the district go? What are we doing well? What are we not doing well enough? What can we improve? It's going to be a little extra work. I'm a little worried, as busy as we already are, but they're going to do most of the legwork. And so I'm kind of excited about that. It's going to be a year-long process, but hopefully we can get that going sometime in the near future. And yes, that concludes my superintendent report.
Thank you. And also our personnel actions are in our report, and they will be placed in the minutes as well. I will move down now to our board action items, and item A is to approve contract for interpreting services with Sorensen Communications LLC. Julie?
Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me. And tonight we're bringing to you a contract with Sorensen Communications. And we do have several students in Muhlenberg County who are diagnosed with hearing impairments, and we have an awesome team who work with those students. We have one teacher, Kelly Gann, who is a teacher of the hearing impaired. We have two interpreters that are full-time, Vicki Tilley and Edie Ryan, and they are amazing ladies, and they actually drive quite a bit a ways to work here. They love Muhlenberg County, and we love them. And then we have an instructional monitor, Paula Adams, who just has picked up and is wonderful, just has a natural gift in learning sign language skills. But, you know, life happens, and sometimes we've got ladies who need to take off work for different reasons, and that always presents as an issue, especially for our kids with hearing impairments, because they have such specific needs. And this year, Kelly Gann, our teacher of the hearing impaired, has worked really hard helping me out because of how busy I am with all the world of COVID. But she has found a company that can supply an interpreter on a contractual type basis whenever we need a fill-in. And so that's what we're bringing you tonight, just so that we can all be aware of that type of service, and the terms are in the contract. And we do hope that you approve this contract so that we can have a little more rest and meet the needs of our students when we need to.
Have a chance to review this in your packet. Are there any questions? I need a motion to approve. Have a motion by Mr. Jumper, second by Ms. Ford. All in favor of approving the contract for the interpreting services with Sorensen Communications, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear an aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I am now to item B, and this is to approve 3 additional RN or health tech positions for COVID operations. Mr. Blitzinger.
Thank you, Chairman Rager. This is to approve 3 positions of either health techs or RNs, whichever we get, because as you know, all of our nurses are overwhelmed in testing and helping contact trace and all that and everything to that effect. So we'd like to add 3 more that would assist in whatever is needed, whether it be they need to be at a school or whether they need to be at a helping contact trace or whatever that role that may fill. But we want to have someone that's in the health field to help fill that. So that's what we're looking to do, and the cost would be between $100,000 and $150,000, depending on who we get to fill those positions. And it will be covered with ESSER funds. Sorry.
Is there any questions? I need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Ms. Wells, and I'll second. All in favor of approving the 3 additional RN health tech positions for COVID operations, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. We go down now to item C, and that's to approve the BG5 for ALC emergency roof repair.
As you remember, a couple of years ago, we had some wind tear off the roof at the ALC. This is actually, we were able to get some of the necessary signatures we needed to get the last part of the process done. This is just the cost reconciliation for the ALC roof repair, and this will allow us to close it out.
Any questions? If not, I need a motion to approve. I have a motion by Mr. Johar, second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of approving the VG5 for the ALC emergency roof repair, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. We'll go to it now. Thank you. To item D, to consider the 21-22 fiscal year 22 working budget.
All right. Thank you, Chairman Rager, board members. Let's get this going here. Can you all see the screen?
Yes.
Excellent. And so this is the fiscal year. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, I apologize. It should be, it's the working budget, not the tentative budget. This is the final iteration in the budget cycle. So the draft budget, which is in January, the tentative budget, which is in May, and then the working budget, which is right now. And this is the one from which we'll operate, and this is the one that's kind of set in stone. So we're going to review the revenues, expenses, and we're going to take a deeper dive into the ESSER funds. That's going to add into this one. So the revenue line item notables, we increased the beginning balance. It was at 17 million. We're actually increasing it to 19 million. One things that are unchanged, we left TVA at 4 million. Excuse me. The reason we left it at 4 was, again, they told us that, you know, we would get our larger payment until things were starting to get torn down. Well, the very next week, we looked in the later news and it had equipment tearing things down. So I'd rather be a little bit conservative on the TVA number, keep it at 4 million and hopefully get a little more than overshoot that. The SEEK, we're still using 18-19 data, which also, as a side note, I got an email today about this. This also works in favor for our schools in terms of the SBDM allocations that they get. So we're not changing that data, and it's helping our district out. We're not a growth district, so there are some districts that they're using current data, and other districts like us are continuing to use the 18-19. And then I've also included ESSER funds in the revenue. So the total revenues, including beginning balance, it seems pretty high. It's at 94.4 million or 94.5 million, but a vast majority of that is our beginning balance and that special revenue, which is at 25 million, which is normally around 7 million. So, you know, there's a significant increase there. General fund is about 63 million. Capital outlay and those sorts of things, nothing's really changed on those areas. Food service is at about 3.9 million. Again, they've got a healthy balance, but that's where their operations are. The expense line item notables, we increased the salary expense by 1.5%. We budgeted $400,000 to GES and South Elementary for the cooling towers, which have both been installed and have been paid out at this point. We've also budgeted $200,000 for resurfacing at South Middle now. But the thing that should be noted there is, again, that's another thing that we paid out last month for was one of our notable payments during August. And again, we've budgeted the ESSER funds. So the general fund expenditures, salary is about 27.5 million. We did not change that, even though we're shifting a lot of salary to the ESSER funds. We wanted to leave that there just in case we wanted to add some positions if we needed to. But again, we know we're going to come in well under budget on that salary side, but we think it was a prudent move to keep it right at. Employee benefits are at 3.97 million. On behalf is about 11.5 million, and contingency is a little over 9 million. ESSER funds. Really, this is what I wanted to get into. The really big ticket items, we budgeted about 5.8 million to salaries and benefits, and that's split between two portions of the ESSER funds. So we're kind of we're looking at, you know, all the positions that we have. We are using those. We're trying to use those as diligently as possible, but we also know that salaries with federal dollars is more expensive. So we're trying to keep that at a minimum, but obviously that's the biggest expense item that we have. We have budgeted 500,000 to building improvements. The vast majority of that is the ionization project. Once that comes in, you know, we're going to start seeing that. We budgeted 500,000 to software for student catch up. So again, that's part of that's Matt's realm, but we wanted to make sure that there was enough funds in place that that we could get those pieces of software. We also budgeted 587,000 to insurance. That's one thing that we were allowed to use these funds for, and we wanted to take the burden off of the general fund. So we thought that was a good use of funds. And then about 2.1 million to general supplies. We don't expect to fully use 2.1 million on general supplies, but we wanted to have that flexibility if we needed various items that we could go ahead and use those funds within the funding matrix to allow for that. Next, we'll talk about committed funds. You know, we did determine those amounts in the tentative budget. The amounts again are always going to be our retirement funds and anything that's a big ticket construction project or major renovation item. So we want to always have that there. And then again, we have the retirement. Is there any question?
Eric, can you give me an idea of what the general supplies, 2.1 million, what would come under that?
Really, I mean, we didn't really have anything in particular in mind, but you know, like for instance, if like I guess if you know other schools want to, you know, we need to add cafeteria tables or things to those effects to add spaces for the students. It could be I don't necessarily know that we'd have to shift the funds obviously, but you know, if there's a textbook need or any, I mean, really the 2.1 million was just meant to provide flexibility. And it was general supplies is generally the catch-all object code that we use, but really I just wanted to make sure that we had a significant amount of money set aside that we could, if there's anything that you know, if a school came to us or Mr. Davis had another project in mind, or even if Mr. Fleming had something that he wanted to get done, we wanted to be able to do that. I know, for instance, one thing that we're going to try to do, or one thing that we want to do for the buses is kind of help out. Kim came to us about updating a lot of the camera systems and putting the cameras on the swing arms. So that's where I think 130,000 of that's going to go. So I hope that makes it clear as mud.
And this is, I mean, that's a good question. This is really difficult to work through all this. You've got 3 rounds of ESSER funds, anywhere from $1 million up to 10 million. And that's fantastic, but that is a lot of funds to try. And some of it has to be spent by this date. Some of it's 2023. How much do we spend on kids now? How much do we hold back? We don't know. Is COVID going to be a thing next year? So, you know, that's a flexibility category, but this is it's a good problem that they've given us money, but it is also, how do you use it as wisely as possible and help that general fund? We bought some extra buses, so hopefully in the future, we don't have to. We didn't have to raise taxes this year. We were able to use some funds to try to do that. We're trying to think even next year. So it's quite a job. Mainly, he has to work through trying to figure out how to maximize these dollars to benefit our kids now, but hold back how much, we're not quite sure, to benefit kids next year and the year after, especially if COVID is still a thing.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you.
there any questions on our working budget? If not, I need a motion to approve the working budget.
I make a motion.
A motion by Ms. Bard. Second by Ms. Little. All in favor of approving, the working budget, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Go down
Thank you,
now.
Chair Rager.
To item E, and this is one we added, and this is to consider the components of Senate Bill 1. Mr. Mason.
Okay, there's a lot to this, and this could be 3 motions, this could be one big motion, it depends on how you guys want to do it. So I'm just going to try to work down through how that legislation that came down Friday impacted us. Now, I will tell you that some of it worked out pretty well. Our board meeting is within the 5-day window where nothing was really going to change. A lot of districts had to have special call meetings to do this, so ours fell in the window. The first one is the masking thing. This is an action item. They basically said at the state level now, you're not making a call, it's a district call. And that's fine. So we do have to make a vote on that. Now, I will say at this point, I think there will come a point where it's going to get trickier. When do we go optional and when do we stay as a mandate? But at this point, with our quarantines and positives the way they are, and our goal being keeping kids in school 5 days a week, and nobody likes the mask, but the goal is 5 days a week with their kids. Our quarantines, I'm confident, would be triple, if not more at this point. So, I mean, you take this summer, it was optional. Remember, we were better. And there was a couple of times where we had a positive in a classroom. We had summer school. The entire classroom was quarantined. Now we're quarantined 1 or 2 in a classroom. The bus, same way. Now we're still quarantined several on the bus. Buses are what's getting us the most. But it was the whole bus maybe. So as of now, you know, I think masking is certainly going to be key to keeping running. And plus, if we get staff members, we're running, as you heard on subs, we're razor thin. We're short subs every day. And you heard our staff numbers are great. But people are still off for surgeries. They're still off for doctor's appointments. So every day we're worried about filling classrooms and cooks and all that. So, you know, at this point, that seems to be a relatively easy call. I don't know of any districts who haven't done that. But, yeah, we get the controversy of it. You know, we get that it's not a popular thing. I agree with that. I talked to a gentleman earlier outside here, and we probably disagree with that. But it was a civil conversation. And I listened to him, and he listened to me, and I respect that. I hope we can come. I want there to be hope for our folks that we will revisit this. This isn't, you know, we vote this, hey, we're not looking at it again. Well, let's watch that map. Let's see what our numbers do. Some districts have come out and said, all right, once we get to this, we're going to go with no mask. And we may do that at some point. We don't have that developed yet. Right now, it's just, let's watch it and see where we're at, see if our numbers continue to drop. Let's be hopeful. I want to be hopeful that we can revisit this. So that's the first one. The second one is, let me explain this. The state, we asked for flexibility. We asked for more NTI days. We asked for the ability, if Freeman Elementary has 3rd grade teachers, they're all quarantined, and I don't have subs, I want to be able to call those parents and say, guys, your 3rd grade Freeman's going to be home. But the rest of the district's going to run. We asked the legislature with help with that, and they kind of helped. What they did is they kept the NTI days at 10. Now, I'll be honest, that scares me a little. That includes snow days. Some districts have already used 5 days. They've already been down. We've been fortunate, you know, for 18 straight days right now. But what that means is if we have to close the district, be it for, you know, we closed for flu. We closed for a flooding one time in the entire district for snow. If we go over 10 days, those days are added to the end of the year. Now, and I've talked to our legislators quite often, say, guys, you're going to be pushing us in the middle of June if we don't get more flexibility. They did not come through for us on NTI days. They did give us 20 days called remote instruction days where I can just close Central City. I can just close 8th grade at North Middle or even a classroom. And it counts as 1. Not 20 per school. Need to be clear about this. We asked for 20 per school. Just trust us. We want to be in school. Well, they didn't. So they gave us 20 total. So every time we have to do something like that, that's 1. If I close, all right, Freeman was 3rd grade. Now the 2nd grade teachers, they're all quarantined. That's 2. once we get over that, once we get to 20, we're out. I have to close the whole district, and those days are added to the end of the year. Not terribly happy with this. It's better than just the 10, but I do need your authorization tonight to, basically use these remote instruction days as I see fit. If we can't run a school or a classroom, instead of trying to get you guys together, whatever, I just simply make the call. This could happen at 8 o'clock one night when I get the information. So that's number 2. Number 3, and this is, I'm excited about this one. I think it's going to be a lot of work, but we're already working on it. It's called Test to Stay. What we want to do is reduce our quarantines. How can we safely reduce our quarantines? Because honestly, that's super difficult on teachers. Try and take care of the ones in person. We said last year they wouldn't have to do both. Well, this isn't quite both because they're basically absent, but it feels like both sometimes. So the quarantine numbers, for so many reasons, we want to be able to drop down. The Test to Stay program would say if you would have been quarantined, a parent would have the option to say, okay, I want them tested every day. And they come and they get tested every day. And if they're negative, they keep coming. Because what we are finding, we think, talking to other districts too, it seems like the vast majority of kids who are quarantined are not becoming positive. But we're still kind of gathering that data. We're watching that. We want that information. That's huge information. But if we can keep these kids coming and we just test them every day, all right, that's still safe. You're not quarantining as many, and it goes back to our ultimate goal. More kids in school 5 days a week. We're making phone calls on this, met a few hours on it yesterday with different groups. What I need from you, and again, we'll probably put out a video on this once we get closer, try to explain it to all the parents. They don't have to, it's voluntary. If you're like, I don't want my kid tested, you have that right. You'll be quarantined like they are now. This would just be an option for folks who say, no, I want my kid there. Do what you got to do. But we'll explain it all. There won't be a mystery about it. Right now, there's a little mystery about it. We're trying to figure that out. But what I need from you as well, and a motion, is giving me the authority to use whichever organization, company. We're using Wild Health now, and it's going okay. There's been some miscommunication, and we're trying to get better. Parents have been frustrated with us over the quarantine communication, and guess what? They have a right to be. We took over all that the first day of school from the health department, and we're better than we were, and God bless everybody that's worked through it. But some parents have a right to be, hey, it's the 10th day, it's the 11th day, I don't have the paperwork yet. We're streamlining that. We're much better than we were, but I appreciate every parent who's shown some patience, because it's frustrating when you want your child there. But we're having this miscommunication, so we are getting better at that. But again, reducing that's the key. And if we can get that Test to Stay program in, I think that's going to be a wonderful thing. I don't have enough more to tell you right now, other than we're really wading into it. I'll let you know if we have to have a special call meeting for something about this, but I don't think we will. I think if you guys will authorize tonight, hey, you get which company you think is best, can best serve us. Some may say I can put somebody in each building. Well, that's better. And some may say I can't do that, but I can go to a central location, which would probably be South Middle. Okay, then all the parents who don't have transportation to get their kids to there, they don't have the access to that, so they're left out. So we're trying to figure out, we are having intense conversations about this. So that's number 3, and I've still got a few more things to cover, but there's 1, 2, and 3, the masking, the remote learning, remote instruction, the Test to Stay. Y'all can do it all at once, or you can do it individually, however you'd like. I will tell you some good news. State is going to let us use the 18-19 enrollment numbers again. Thank goodness. That is our SEEK funding. It's not about money, but we do need money to run. And the attendance has been so shaky and so hard to get a handle on, especially this year. It's in the worst year. So the 18-19 numbers, that's when we actually have more kids. So that's a win for us there. And guys, we are working on our plan. That part of SB1 was put your plan up on the website and send it to KDE. Well, we've already done all that, but we are looking at adjusting that plan. Is there something we can safely do to reduce quarantines? I sent the Indiana plan to you guys, and basically with that, they're like, all right, in the classroom, if your max distance, it was 3 feet, but if your max distance and mask the whole time, then they're not quarantining. I'm talking to Dr. Gain about that. I'm talking to Kathy Bethel about that. You know, where do they come down on that? And I think they're fine with that. But the one they're not on, and I did ask about, was the buses. And I would like, can we maybe back down to 3 feet on the buses and reduce quarantines there? And at this point, we're staying at 6. So we're not going to change. But I think this plan is going to be fluid because we're going to add tests to stay to it as soon as we get to that point. And I'll keep you updated on all the changes. But right now, we've kind of put up the plan we have now, knowing that we may change it tomorrow. So I just let you know, we're talking to all the right people when it comes to that plan, including, I need everybody to know, we talk to other districts. I talk to other superintendents daily. Sometimes they've got some good ideas. I'm like, I like that. Let's use that. So we're always in conversation. We'll put a video out on that. Like I said, I'll probably have Julie in charge of that one instead of me, probably a little better received. And again, there could be times where I need to call a work session for various reasons. We can do it virtually. I can at least get 3 of you together because this is changing literally daily. And we're getting better and better. Things are better now than they were a week ago and 2 weeks ago. But if new legislation happens, if something else comes up, somebody challenges something, you know, we have to react. And we just learn to react. And as long as it's, I want those classrooms to be the eye of the storm. If everything outside here, if I'm not sleeping, if I'm stressed, and those principals are like, what are we going to do? And the teachers are pulling their hair out. I hate all that. But if the kids can feel safety and security and laughter, and I'm back in, and it feels like normal school besides these darn things, then that's what we want to provide. So that's basically the SB1 in a nutshell. But I need 3 or 1 big motion from you guys, however you all decide to do it.
I'll open up the floor for any comments or questions.
I have a comment. Mr. Davis, I know we've said this probably more times than I ever thought we would have during the past year, almost 2 years now. I can't imagine your job and having so many moving parts every day. And running a school, speaking from personal experience, is like running a small town because you have everyone there looking at you for guidance. But you have more than a small town. You have basically a state under your care every day. And you're trying to take care of everyone and all of these moving parts and superintendents calling and people from the State Department calling, parents calling, school board members calling. I can't imagine the stress you're under, and I just want to tell you how appreciative I am with how forthcoming you've been with information to us to keep us informed so that we can make informed decisions, which we never thought we'd have to make in this position. And it's been difficult on all of us. Miss Rager is a nurse, and she handles this every day, life and death. Thank you, Stephanie, for what you do. And other board members, I can't imagine being on the board without you. You've been incredible. Thanks for letting us, we bounce ideas off each other every once in a while. It's a good thing we've got each other, so. But teachers, having been a teacher in the classroom as well, and having to take care of other people's classrooms, you invite those kids in like they're your own, and thank you for doing that. I know it's not easy. When you have 60 kids in a class instead of 30, I get it, I understand, and I talk with the other board members about that as well. So thank you for what you do. This is not going to be forever, and I can almost promise you that, hopefully. So, and everyone else that runs the schools, custodians, secretaries,
SROs,
everyone, SROs. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Yeah, it's hard to know when to start bragging on someone, where to stop. I mean, Sherry's taken some very rude calls.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then by and large, our folks have been great. And I mean that. But there's been some calls that have just been very rude. And quite honestly, I'm telling you, you can try to talk to them, and if they want, then you just, I'm sorry. You don't have to listen to that. You know, that's not the way we handle things. But at the school level, those ladies answering the phone, the bus drivers, there's often, and when there's miscommunication on the quarantines, which is kind of nobody's fault, but maybe our fault more than anybody, certainly not a bus driver, and they're getting cussed. And that's somebody's mom. I mean, come on. And I understand being upset. It's how you handle it. So I do appreciate what you're saying, but I just can't be proud enough of our folks. All I ask from anybody is that even if they don't agree with me, I get it. Some of these decisions are 55-45s, and I get it. It's just trust that I'm trying to do right, that we're trying to do right by their kids. Not just me. You guys, school folks, we're trying to do right by our kids. There's no other agenda involved. So I do appreciate you saying that. It's hard to listen to that because I know how many other folks are going through so much more. But thank you. Yeah, we just want our folks to believe in us, even if they don't agree with us. We're all going to get to the same point at some point, I know. So however you want to handle this, one big one, 3 little ones, whatever works for you.
I think we all know, where the state's at and what it's looking like with numbers, and we're still pretty much all in the red. So, I mean, just my personal opinion and being a COVID nurse, as they said, and seeing the things you see and knowing that your patients coming in a lot of times are exposed by their grandchildren who are in school, I feel like, it's just a no-brainer at this point. We still have to continue wearing masks. I know I don't like it, but I probably spend 75% of my time in a mask, sometimes 2 masks at a time, for several hours a day. And it's not comfortable, it's not fun. You get hot, you can't breathe, you inhale fibers off the mask. It's just, it's more of an aggravation than anything. And I wholeheartedly understand. I think we all do. But I feel like at this point, there's just no other option until things can be improved. You just think about the exposures out there. A lot of our kids may not be getting sick, but who are they exposing to that they don't, that they're not symptomatic? Maybe their family members become. A lot of kids out there living with grandparents, aunts, uncles, whatever, with guardians that may not be able to come through something like this. I think we've all up here been kind of, hit with, COVID personally in some way. I know 2 of you, especially, and then I work at it every day. So, the masks, they do work. If you wear them right, I think that, from what I've heard, the kids have not complained so much about having to wear the mask. I think they know that it's needed. They may not want to do it, but it's needed. So I wholeheartedly support the implementation of, the universal masking at this point in time. I also am, in favor of Mr. Davis being able to, pull the plug on schools or grade levels or whatever that may need to be shut down. I feel like if it continues to go the direction it's going, the state's probably going to have to make some arrangements too and some different calls on their days.
Chairman Ray, we'll try not to. That's tough on parents.
Yeah.
When you do that and they don't have child care and you have to pull it, it's like that on a snow day too. But we recognize how difficult it is on parents who don't have child care and all of a sudden they've got jobs and you're saying you're going to be down tomorrow. So hopefully, we will do everything we can to not do that.
As far as the test to say, that's great. Sometimes it may take a few days for someone to test positive. And then they may not test positive, so at least we're keeping our kids in school, and that's what they need to be in school and learning. So I think that's why we're all here. That's our goal, is to have our kids in school, have them healthy, and learning how to become an important part of society one day. So I would like to make a motion to approve all 3 items under Senate Bill 1. And a second by Mr. Johar. Any other comments? If not, I'll need a motion to approve all 3 considerations under Senate Bill 1. Sorry, I approve. I'm confused. I made the motion, he seconded. I did. All for in favor of all 3, say aye. Aye. All opposed. I hear none. All right. We'll move to one that only has 1 part now. Item F is to consider part-time guidance counselor ARC chairperson. And
Julie again?
It's me. Sorry. Just keep coming and asking for stuff. But again, we're going to talk about COVID again. So you all know that that is continuing to stretch us very thin. And what we are asking for tonight is a part-time guidance counselor and ARC chairperson for the remainder of the 21-22 school year. So it is for a short amount of time, but I really do believe that that would be very helpful when it comes to some of the key tasks that need to be completed in the special education department, especially at the district level. Some examples of things that this person would be working on would be helping to complete our state waivers, which they are actually coming due very soon. Some state reporting that has to be completed. We have several new guidance counselors in the district, and so giving them some assistance, especially through December 1 child count, would be very important. And then also helping to train some district staff on the special education data management. So we're looking to find someone who could possibly work 2 days a week for the remainder of the school year, so through June 2022, and this would be grant funded. It would not be an expense of the general fund.
Any questions? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
A motion by Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of considering the part-time guidance counselor ARC chairperson position, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
All right, so we're down now to our board consent agenda items. All of these items are approving the minutes of the prior board meeting, approving the amended salary schedule for the fiscal year 22, surplus and disposal of broken and outdated technology equipment, considering non-resident contracts with the Owensboro Independent, Russellville Independent, Warren County, Logan County, Todd County, Hopkins County, Ohio County, Davis, Barron, Butler, Webster, Bowling Green Independent, McLean County, leave of absence request, fundraising request, and field trip request, along with the additions for approving the contract between the Muhlenberg County Board of Education and the Student Education for Strategic Plan Development, and also approving the shortened school day for student 1 for the 21-22 school year. And everybody has all of these with the additions in their packet that we reviewed. And I'll just need a motion to approve the board consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Ms. Wells. Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of approving the board consent agenda items, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none, and we're down to adjournment. Motion by Mr. Johar, second by Ms. Lars. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye.